Your cat could be sick right now and you would not know it because cats hide pain better than any animal on a farm. By the time she stops eating, the trouble has usually been growing for 3 weeks, and catching it that late is what turns a $60 problem into a $2,500 one. So let me ask you, if I gave you 60 seconds with your cat this morning, would you know the 5 places to look? There is a cat sitting on my kitchen windowsill right now. Her name is Tibby. She is 9 years old, gray with white feet, and she has been on that sill every morning of her life while I make breakfast. She watches the bird feeder. She does not move much. And that is exactly the problem, because a cat who does not move much looks the same whether she is healthy or whether her kidneys are quietly failing. My name is Rachel Miller. I am Amish. I live on a dairy farm with my husband and our 4 children, and at any given time we have between 6 and 10 cats on this place. Barn cats, porch cats, and Tibby, who decided years ago that she was a kitchen cat and no one argued with her. We do not take a cat to the vet for every sneeze. We cannot. The nearest small animal vet is a 40-minute drive by hired driver, and an emergency visit at night starts at $400 before they have touched the animal. So we learn to do what our mothers did. We learn to look. Every morning, without thinking about it, the women in my family run a check on every cat in the house. It takes less than 1 minute per cat. It costs nothing, and it catches sickness 2 and 3 weeks before the cat would ever show it on her own. I am going to teach you that check today, all 5 parts of it in the order I do it. But first, I have to tell you about the time I did not do it, about the cat I lost because I saw the sign and told myself it was nothing. His name was Smoke, and what happened to him is the reason I do this check every morning without fail, and the reason I'm making this video at all. Quick word before I go further. The old methods my family uses, there is more of it than fits in any one video. I gathered the whole of it into a book you can buy in our pinned comment below. The book is the long version. If you want it, it is there. I will not mention it again. Smoke was a big gray Tom who lived in our hay barn for 11 years. He was the best mouser we ever had. And one October, I noticed he was drinking out of the cattle trough more than usual, twice, 3 times when I walked past. I remember thinking, that is odd for him. And then I remember thinking, well, it has been dry this fall. I told myself a story that let me keep walking. 3 weeks later, Smoke stopped jumping up to the hayloft. A week after that, he stopped eating. By the time we got him to the vet, his kidneys were nearly gone, and the vet told me something I have never forgotten. She said, the drinking was the sign. When a cat starts drinking more water than usual, the kidneys have already lost most of their working parts, and the earlier you catch it, the more years you can buy. Catch it at the drinking stage, and a cat can live 3, 4 more good years on a changed diet. Catch it when they stop eating, and you are counting weeks. Smoke died that winter. It cost me nothing in money because there was nothing left to spend money on. My neighbor down the road was not so lucky in the other direction. Her son's orange Tom started going in and out of the litter box one evening, straining, crying, producing nothing. They thought he was constipated and waited until morning. That cat was blocked. He could not pass urine at all, which in a male cat kills within a day or 2. The emergency surgery and 3 nights at the animal hospital came to $2,600. 1 evening of waiting. So here's the question I want to put in your mind, and I want you to hold on to it for the next few minutes. If both of those cats were showing signs weeks before the crisis, and they were, why did nobody see them? The answer is not that we were careless. The answer is something about cats themselves, something built so deep into the animal that she cannot help it. And once you understand it, you will never look at your cat the same way again. Here is the thing most people get wrong about cats, and it is the root of every expensive vet bill I have ever heard of. People think a sick cat looks sick. They are waiting for the animal to tell them. Drooping, crying, refusing food, hiding under the porch. And a cat will do all of those things eventually. But eventually is the problem. A cat is a strange creature in the order of things. She is a hunter, yes. But she is also small enough to be hunted. Hawks take kittens off this farm, coyotes take grown cats, and an animal that is both hunter and hunted learns one rule above all others over thousands of generations. Never look weak. A limping rabbit gets eaten first. A limping cat gets eaten first too. So the cat that survived, the cat that became every cat alive today, is the cat who could be in pain and show nothing. Your sweet kitchen cat carries that same instinct in her bones. When she hurts, when her insides are going wrong, her deepest nature tells her to sit normally, eat a little, keep her coat clean, and give away nothing. She is not being brave. She cannot help it. Dogs are different. A dog has lived beside man for thousands of years as a partner, and a dog will come to you and complain. A cat was never anybody's partner. She was a neighbor who tolerated us. She keeps her troubles to herself until she physically cannot anymore. And by the time she is showing you sickness, you are late. Now think about what the animal doctors sell to answer this. A yearly checkup with blood work runs $200 to $400. Useful? I will not say otherwise. But it is 1 day out of 365. A cat can go from healthy blood work to a blocked bladder in a single season. The pet insurance companies will take $30 to $50 a month from you every month for the whole life of the cat, which comes to more than $5,000 over 10 years, and most of it you will never use. That is the industry answer. Pay to be protected from what you did not see. Here is the answer my grandmother had, and her grandmother before her, and it costs nothing. The sickness does not live in the cat. The sickness lives in the change. Read that again if you need to. A sick cat does not look sick. A sick cat looks different. Slightly, quietly different from the cat she was 2 weeks ago. She drinks a little more. She jumps a little less. Her clumps in the litter box are a little bigger or a little smaller. Each change alone is nothing. Any one of them, you would walk past the way I walked past smoke at the trough. But if you know your cat's normal, truly know it. The way you know the sound of your own child's footsteps on the stairs, then the change stands out like a wrong note in a hymn. That is the whole secret. You are not looking for sickness. You are looking for difference, and you cannot see difference unless you have been watching sameness every single day. That is what the 60-second check is. It is not a medical exam. It is a daily reading of 5 numbers so that the morning one of those numbers moves, you catch it in week 1 instead of week 4. Week 1 is a $60 conversation with a vet. Week 4 is a $2,500 emergency. So let me walk you through the 5 checks, one at a time, exactly the way I do them in my kitchen every morning before the bread goes in the oven. Check 1 I call the doorway look, and it takes 10 seconds. When your cat comes to you in the morning, and she will for breakfast if nothing else, do not just set the bowl down. Stand still and watch her cross the room. You are watching 3 things: how fast she comes, how even her walk is, and whether she does the thing she always does, the jump to the chair, the rub on the table leg, whatever her habit is. A cat with sore joints or belly pain will not limp, remember. She is built to hide it. But she will slow down. She will take the step up instead of the jump. She will skip the rub. Here is the trick worth rewinding for. Watch her land, not her leap. A cat going wrong in the hips or growing pain in her belly lands heavy, front feet spread wide, with a little check in her stride after. A healthy cat lands like falling snow. You will know the difference within a week of watching. Check 2 is the water count. Cats are desert animals from long ago, and a healthy cat on wet food drinks very little, maybe a few sips you never see. A cat on dry food drinks more, but her amount stays steady. So here's what you do tonight. Fill her water bowl using a measuring cup and write down how much. 1 cup, 2 cups, whatever it is. Every morning before you refill, pour what is left back into the measuring cup. Now you have a number. Do that for 1 week, and you know her normal. From then on, the check takes 5 seconds. If her drinking climbs and stays climbed for 3 or 4 days, and she has not been playing hard, and the weather has not turned hot, you take her in. Increased thirst is the earliest sign of the 3 big killers of older cats: kidney disease, diabetes, and thyroid trouble. All 3 are treatable if you catch them at the water bowl. All 3 are heartbreak if you catch them at the food bowl, because by the time a cat stops eating, you are months down the road. That measuring cup would have saved smoke. It costs $2 and you already own one. Check 3 is the litter check, and I know, nobody loves this one. Do it anyway. It is the most honest report your cat will ever give you. When you scoop, and you should scoop every day, you are counting and you are sizing. A healthy cat leaves 2 to 3 wet clumps a day, each about the size of a small egg, and stool once a day, maybe twice, formed and brown. Now here is what the changes mean. Clumps growing bigger and more of them. That is the drinking problem showing up at the other end. Kidneys, diabetes, thyroid. Clumps shrinking or missing. Pay sharp attention, especially with a male cat. And hear me on this part, like it is the most important thing in this video, because it is. If you ever see a male cat going in and out of the box, squatting, straining, crying, and leaving nothing, that is not constipation. That is a blocked bladder until proven otherwise, and it kills male cats inside 24 to 48 hours. That is a drive to the emergency vet that same hour, not the next morning. The surgery my neighbor paid $2,600 for is the price of one night of waiting. The vet visit that catches it early, when the crystals are just starting and a diet change fixes it, runs about $150. One more thing on litter. Use a plain unscented clumping litter, the simple clay kind, about $12 for a 35-pound box. Not because I am against the fancy ones, but because the perfumed crystals and the pine pellets hide exactly the information you are trying to read. Plain litter makes clean, honest clumps you can count and size at a glance. Your litter box is not a toilet. It is a chart. Check 4 is the hands-on pass, and it takes 15 seconds. Once a day, when she is beside you anyway, run your flat hands slowly from her shoulders, down her spine to the base of her tail, then once along each side. You are feeling for 3 things: bone, coat, and lumps. A healthy cat has padding over the spine. You feel the bumps of her backbone, but they are soft-edged, like knuckles under a mitten. When a cat starts losing weight, and slow weight loss is the single most common early sign of deep sickness in cats, the spine sharpens under your hand, weeks before your eyes see anything, because the coat hides it. Her coat itself tells a story too. A cat who feels unwell quietly stops grooming the hard-to-reach places, so the fur along the lower back and hips goes dull, greasy, a little clumped, while the rest still looks fine. Grandmother called that the dirty britches sign, and she trusted it over anything. And any lump you find that was not there last month gets a vet's eyes on it, small and soon, while removal is a $300 matter and not a $2,000 one. Here's the trick for this step. Once a month, weigh her. You do not need a fancy pet scale. Step on your bathroom scale holding the cat, then without her, and subtract. Or use a $12 kitchen scale and a basket if she is small enough and patient enough. Write the number on the inside of a cupboard door in pencil like my mother did. A grown cat who loses half a pound in a month and was not put on a diet is telling you something, and half a pound on a 10-pound cat is like 8 pounds on you. Check 5 is the face check, 10 seconds, and you can do it while she is purring on your lap. 3 parts. First, the eyes. In the inner corner of each eye, a cat has a third eyelid, a thin whitish curtain that normally stays tucked away out of sight. If you can see it creeping up over the eye while she is awake and alert, in one eye or both, she is unwell. It is one of the few signs a cat cannot hide, and the old folks watched for it above everything. Second, the gums. Lift her lip gently at the side. Healthy gums are pink like the inside of a seashell. Press one spot with your finger for a second and let go. It goes white, then pink again within about 2 seconds. Pale gums, white gums, or a color that takes long seconds to come back is a blood problem or a circulation problem, and it is urgent. Third, the breathing, and this is the one to start tonight. When she is deep asleep, watch her side rise and fall and count the breaths in 15 seconds, then multiply by 4. A healthy sleeping cat breathes somewhere between 15 and 30 times a minute. Heart trouble in cats hides better than any other sickness. No coughing like a dog, no complaint, and the very first sign is often nothing more than sleeping breaths creeping up past 40. Caught there, heart disease is pills that cost $1 a day. Caught at the crisis, it is a $2,000 emergency stay and grief. So that is the whole check. Doorway, water, litter, hands, face, 10 seconds, 5 seconds while you scoop, 15 seconds, 10 seconds, under a minute, woven into chores you already do. Now let me pull back and tell you why this matters beyond the money, though the money is real enough. The average cat owner in this country will hit at least one emergency vet visit in their cat's life, and the average emergency runs $1,500 to $3,000. Nearly every one of those emergencies, the blockage, the kidney crash, the diabetic collapse, the heart failure, threw off small signs for 2 to 6 weeks first. The industry answer is to sell you insurance against your own not looking. The old answer is to look. 1 minute a day, 365 minutes a year, 6 hours of your life against $2,500 and a small animal suffering silently in your own kitchen because her instincts would not let her ask for help. That last part is the part that stays with me. Smoke could not tell me. It was never his job to tell me. It was my job to know him. My grandmother had a saying about this, and I want you to take it as the point of this whole video. A cat will not tell you she is sick. She will tell you she is different. Your job is to know what same looks like. Everything I showed you today is just that saying with handles on it. So here's what I want you to do tonight, and it costs nothing. When your cat is deep asleep this evening, count her breaths for 15 seconds and multiply by 4. Then open a cupboard door and write that number inside it in pencil with the date. That is your first normal. Tomorrow, fill the water bowl with a measuring cup. By Sunday, you will know your cat better than most people ever know theirs. Then come back here and tell me in the comments what your cat's sleeping breath number was and how old she is and where you are writing from. I read every one of these, and I answer when I can. Next time, I'm going to show you what my grandmother fed our barn cats every October to keep the worms out of them all winter. It comes out of a pumpkin, it costs nothing if you grow one, and the wormer at the feed store that does the same job is $30 a tube. The old vets knew about it. Most of the new ones were never taught. Until then, keep your hands on your animals and your eyes open. The ones who cannot speak are counting on the ones who can see.